Wizard of the Wood, Chapter 19. Pieces and the Past. Essie didn't like just waiting around. It was inefficient to spend time doing absolutely nothing. It was also making her feel nauseous, waiting for some kind of sign or waiting to spot Rylir coming down the road. What made it worse was the situation he was walking into. She didn't like the thought that Rylir might be captured and charged with the same terrible crimes as his friend. All she knew was that there would be consequences if any one of those townsfolk laid a finger to harm Rylir. She stopped and thought about what she had just thought. It was an odd sensation, feeling protective over someone other than herself. Years ago, she would not have thought it was possible for her to think or feel the things she was experiencing. While with Caven, she believed herself incapable of caring for another person. In the span of just a few short months, so much felt like it had changed. Had Rylir changed her so much in that short time she had known him? Or was this inevitable? Something that was bound to happen as time marched relentlessly forward. There was no clear answer, which bothered Essie. But did there really need to be an answer? Once again, a new experience presented itself to her, being okay with not knowing the answer or the source of what was making her feel something. Her ice-shard-colored eyes scanned the landscape around her. She had ventured to the edge of the tree line to the fields beyond. Her anxious thoughts about Rylir had forced her feet to pace back and forth where the trees and the fields met. It felt symbolic, torn between worlds, one being the forest and the safety of all she knew, and the unexpected and unknown in the fields and the town. The town was within Essie's immediate view, though specific details were lost in the size and distance of the structures. She could use a spell, but she did not think it was necessary to spend the energy on a spell to simply get a better view of the town. What was it like to live in a small town? Her mind, thankfully, found distraction in following this line of thought, as she elected to pursue it further as she waited for Rylir. What was it like to wait for the person who cleaned and tended to the meat to open the shop doors? What was it like to smell the local businesses spreading their wares at all hours of the day? Candles and breads and leathers and tools. All of these scents lingering in the air, mingling together, creating an amalgamated scent, all on its own. What was it like to be close to so many people like you, and yet so different than you? To have them come up and shake your hand, or give you a warm embrace. It sounded exhausting and simple, but there was nothing wrong with living a simple life. At least, Essie thought from time to time that there was nothing wrong with a simple life. It was less complicated, at least when it came to magic and studying the arcane arts. Magic, for Essie, came naturally. It had always been with her, even though she did not necessarily know how. It was convenient and helped her do so much. Everything she was felt tied to her abilities. It made her who she was, though it was not all of who she was. Essie knew that much about herself. Magic helped her work, study, and perform daily tasks. It was convenient, while also being a way of life she had dedicated herself to. It simplified her existence in so many ways, making her life easier. Life felt more dangerous without her magic. She felt vulnerable when she wasn't casting spells or studying the knowledge of the arcane arts that Caven bestowed upon her. Perhaps that's what it felt like, to live in the town. Exposed, vulnerable, relying on the strength of others to get you through the day. It was then that, for one fraction of a moment, Essie felt her eyes being drawn away from the town to a place in the field near her. It was not of any particular significance, but her eyes fell on that place and fixated on it without relent. Then every strand of hair on her head stood on end. Her heart began to pound out of her chest, ribs aching with the pressure. Something was wrong. Something was horribly wrong. Essie opened her mouth and tasted the air, instantly detecting an uneasy, acidic scent. There was a thickness to the air, like it was charged with oncoming energy. It felt like the onset of a storm. The wind swirled through the field, making the heavy, gray clouds above begin to spiral. The air was charged with something, and it couldn't be good. Before her eyes, the ground began to char and boil, igniting a patch of ground in sickly green flame. Then the flame took shape. What was once boiling earth formed the frame of a cloaked female figure. What was more interesting was this figure was like her, a giant. Like a snuffed candle, the flames extinguished and left the woman's smoldering form. The figure stood and immediately removed her hood, revealing full, round features, as well as a horrendous scar over her left eye. Her dark hair was streaked with wisps of white, though it was the crow's feet by the corners of her eyes that revealed her age. Essie wasn't sure what it was about this woman that unnerved her so much, but she had no time to figure it out before the figure's eyes latched onto her form by the trees. There was a flash of confusion as the woman tilted her head and examined Essie. A shiver shot up Essie's spine. It felt familiar. Then that confusion turned into a wicked, bone-chilling grin as the figure spoke. "Ezra? Is that really you? It has been far too long. And here we thought we had lost you.